What's poppin', y'all? You know how that everybody says, like, yo, explain how this affects LeBron's legacy? Explain how this affects Drake's legacy, and Academics will win that game every single time because he found a way to compare Kai Cenat and Streamer University to Drake of all people.
But I will say Kai is very important to the ecosystem of streaming. I'm not going to lie. There's mad that fell off. Or not even fell off, but like without Kai, Kai's like Drake. Like without him having the stimulus package around, a lot of niggas couldn't survive, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you. They could not survive.
All right. So there's some points to be made here. So the first thing is a lot of these guys not being able to survive without Drake is kind of true. Drake has given some people, such as Smiley, just these collaborations that did not need to happen. And the more irrelevant an artist was that got a Drake collaboration, the harder it is for them to keep it up after that. So there's that example, although many of them do succeed afterwards. With the Kai Cenat, when Kai Cenat left, his group is killing it. Like Kai Cenat said, Rakai is going to be the #1 streamer. And as the past year, you've seen Rakai everywhere. The Clover Boys, they're killing it. They're doing their whole thing. Academics was beefing with one of them, the Ty Lil, getting backdoored, as he calls backdoor Ty Lil. Ray has been killing it. I don't know what's been going on with that Tota guy. I haven't seen too much of him, but all of these guys, they've got the Clover crib, they've got the Clover chains. They're doing their thing, and Kai Cenat has stepped back. And those are people that he has put on directly. Also, you have people that he put on via Streamer University, and they're killing it on their own too. Realistically, you could say maybe people in AMP are slightly less quote-unquote relevant, which means that they're not getting clipped as much. That's just how people measure relevance. But those guys are all killing it themselves, and Kai Cenat did not put any of them on. And he shined a visibility and fell back. What Kai Cenat does create, though, is conversation. So Kai Cenat, after post Aiden Ross, Kai Cenat took streaming to another level where everyone was paying attention to it. Everyone wanted to see what was going on, and Kai Cenat is and everyone's wondering what's Kai Cenat's next move. Like, yo, where's Vivette? And I do think he needs to spend more time on that. So you could say like the media cycle around streaming surrounds Kai Cenat a lot. And I would say the closest thing to that is a Plaque Max right now because of the music crossover, but the comparison is there. And Drake, for instance, Drake provides a lot of conversation pieces because Drake is not only willing to collaborate, but he's also willing to be petty, take shots at, throw subs, and beef with, not beef, but you guys know what I mean, throw subs at everybody in the game that you can possibly imagine. So that is plenty of fodder for everyone to talk about. We can all talk about theories about Drake, and they can be true or they can be a reach, but you never really know because there are times when people thought somebody was reaching and no, Drake actually meant to leave that little Easter egg there. So yeah, they definitely carry the press and people that commentate on their spaces for sure. Aiden Ross, that guy is a dinosaur, like Kabuto, or is that the name of the Pokemon? He's one of those stones in Pokemon Red and Blue that you've got to wait, or fossil, not stone. Yeah, he's one of those fossils. Even though he's, 6, 7, 8 years into the game, yeah, that guy's a fossil, unfortunately. But Academics would go on to say something that I really disagree with, and that's Kai Cenat being responsible for all the blow-ups.
I don't know if there's a organic way to blow up in streaming anymore. And I actually feel bad for newer people because, and this is why maybe Streamer University is needed. You kind of need collabs or you need like these high profile people to be next to for you to get some visibility because these days you're competing with a bunch of people with clip armies. You're competing with a lot. Somebody says, Yana? Well, wasn't she on Streamer University as well? Yeah, AB and Dean. Like, I really think they're the last people to blow up. They're from Kick.
So there is an element of truth to this, but what is an organic blow up? And I've said this in a previous video. I don't even know what video I said it in, but if you listen to all my stuff, which is, I don't even know who actually does. If you just let everything play, let me know in the comments, please. I need to heart you and add you to my lovers crew. Pause on that. I don't even know, but I just need to add you to my mind state because there are a bunch of commenters that I remember off the top of my head, and I love seeing them in the comment section, regardless of what they say, even if they disagree. I love the people that constructively disagree too. But yeah, anyway, I said that clipping was largely useless, and the way that people that have blown up with a streaming audience have done it is via collaborations. So Academics is echoing that same statement, and he is correct in saying that you need collaborations. But let's take a Kai Cenat, for instance. He had Streamer University, and a lot of people came out of it. And he fostered all of these collaborations with the help of Twitch. So Twitch did assist him, and they made his event like the biggest it could possibly be. They gave him its own emote. They highlighted it front page. And you got a bunch of people like Yana. You got people like Wendy Ortiz, which was part by DDG too. You had India Love come out of it, who was already kind of famous. So if we're talking about brand new organic people or collaboration that blew up via Streamer University, yeah, you would say that Yano is probably the most successful, but also the most consistent after that. She had a following on TikTok, but the translation there is not much at all. But for some streamers, the biggest streamers that blew up organically, quote unquote, in the past year, which is what does it even mean to blow up organically? Because when Academics was streaming on Twitch, I don't know, like 13, 14 years ago, he was playing 2K on the PS4 or whatever, and he was already popping on YouTube. So he built it on YouTube and then slowly grew it on Twitch. He never had a main Twitch audience. It was always significantly smaller, and there was no community there for him to have crossover viewers with, except maybe the 2K community, if that. But that wasn't the case. So he was somebody that didn't, quote unquote, organically blow up. So for you to have organically blown up on Twitch in the past, hell, forever, you either were in a community, especially a game, or you rode a wave. Like, for example, let's say the biggest IRL streamer on Twitch at the time, there was this guy, Jake and Bake, who was this white guy doing IRLs, one of the first IRLs when they changed it and added a category, because you used to get banned for doing IRL. And he was this white guy that was in Asia. I think it was Japan. He spent a lot of time in Japan. This is maybe 10 years ago, and he blew up doing that. I think he was already in World of Warcraft and stuff, but he blew up, and Ice Poseidon also blew up, but he blew up because he did Pokemon, is it Pokemon Go? Yeah, the in real life Pokemon thing. So all of the attention to that went to him, and then he was able to carry that. So those are two examples. Now, when we look at the biggest streamers to blow up in the past year or two, none of them have anything to do with Kai Cenat, really. Like, you have the core boys, like Jason the Ween, I would say is an organic blow up. And these guys were all found by FaZe Banks. Now, he put them together and they blew up, but on their own, they all had their own audience. Lacey came from Fortnite. Jason the Ween, Stable Ronaldo was already popping, but he had fell off like crazy, and it's harder to come back from a crazy fall off. So these guys had nothing to do with Kai Cenat had nothing to do with their blow up. Plague Boy Max, he's been lit for the past couple of years, so we can't add him there, although I do think he's only continued to ascend in popularity and content. I think he's creating some incredible content. Clavicular blew up without Kai Cenat, but it wasn't like quote unquote organic. It was with collaborations. Like, he collaborated with that dude Cheezer, but that dude Cheezer found his content because it organically blew up on TikTok. And then he brought him on stream, and then that blew him up. But when we look at streamers that blew up on their own, the biggest streamer of the past year overall that blew up was the Burnt Peanut. And the Burnt Peanut didn't do anything with anybody or with Kai Cenat or with collaborations. He's consistently gained more followers than everybody else. Like, in the past 30 days, he's gained like 64,000 followers. And this guy's blown up this year. Now, there are other people that are killing it this year. Like, for example, this guy like Own Pixel or One Pixel, Asian Jeff. But the Own Pixel guy, I think he's from Counter-Strike. So he was already big in a community and then blew up. So maybe you don't want to use him as an example. But this guy, Asian Jeff, he was in the Fortnite scene. And he's been streaming for a long time to damn near nobody. Like, this guy was streaming to a couple of hundred viewers. If you go back to March of 2026, he had 163 average viewers. And then he jumps to 15K in April. And then in May, he's at 50K. And that guy had nothing to do with Kai Cenat. I think that's an organic blow up. So maybe if he's talking about IRL, then that really does require collaborations. And a lot of these guys, they're not as big as they seem. And it's only because we're seeing one side of streaming. Like, for example, Bendadon as a live streamer with a streaming audience, he's smaller than academics, significantly smaller than academics. Versus when you see him online, he's huge. And Dean the Great is a good example too, because Dean the Great, he was having a run on his own, like a not slow drip, but a slow rise. And then even when all the viral clips were happening of him getting slapped, him getting elbowed and taken down, and then when he gets with AB, everything blows up. But Dean the Great was already popping. He was big in the influencer boxing scene. Dean the Great was a known name in content creation. Versus Burnt Peanut and Asian Jeff, these guys were complete nobodies. And then it's him linking with Adrian Broner, who is a celebrity. Like, for example, Larry Wheels, you could say, oh yeah, he blew up this year in streaming. And it was somewhat due to collaborations, but Larry Wheels was already massive and recognizable. Like, who is somebody that nobody knew before a year and a half ago? And for that, it would be this guy, Asian Jeff, and this guy, the Burnt Peanut, because you've heard their names. Maybe not Asian Jeff, but the Burnt Peanut, you've seen this guy before. So he's gotten mainstream enough to where you are encountering him. Like the Own Pixel guy that I mentioned, you've probably never encountered him. Like I have no life, so you guys can have a life. So I know who this guy is because I do the research and I'm following these things. So for the IRL side of things, Kai Cenat certainly is the oracle, you could say, or that big tree. I forgot what movie or TV show it was from. I think it might have been the original Avatar, but it's where everybody has to go through. So all of the different routes come to this one place. And when you see the people that are clipped the most or the most on your feed or the most mainstream, they all connect to Kai Cenat. And that's because Kai Cenat was the center of several different things, like OG content creation. Like, he was tapped into YouTube, he was a viewer of that, and he was also very into hip hop and rap. So he leaned into that as well. So he captures these two things and brings them together. And he's even into games too. Like, he would do these game streams with Speed and stuff like that. So now he's got all of these different things that don't interact, and he's the centerpiece of them. And he brought all these worlds together, which, if you were academics, you would probably say that's what Drake does with different genres. And I think that's the best way we could end this. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell if you enjoyed. And I'm going to see you on the next one.